Hello everyone and welcome back to another album review. And in this video I'm going to review the new album from Trepaneringsritualen. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the name of this album. Swedish artist Thomas Martin Ekelund releases a new album under the name of Trepaneringsritualen, his second one on Cold Spring, a label which is by far one of the most important and one of the most essential in the underground scene, and this UK label had some great releases over the years. Trepaneringsritualen is a project that mostly consists of dark ambient and industrial music. Under his multiple releases and split, some of his later works would be some of the most exceptional ones he would get, seeing a far bigger improvement and progression to his sound, and this led to the release of Perfection and Permanence, his first album on Cold Spring. A great album that is deservingly become one of the essentials in the underground scene, consisting of dark ambient, heavy minimal industrial instrumentations and some elements of power electronics, all of this combined with a heavy dose of ritual sounds and aesthetics. His newer projects would mostly consist of lots of symbolisms, and he definitely has his own exceptional way of portraying these ritual aesthetics, and he has done with a pretty good fashion over his past couple of records, like with the album Perfection and Permanence, and I think that the next album, Keinslucht, was also a great album. Keinslucht did not get that much recognition, but this album from Tesco organization is actually a bigger improvement in my opinion, and I think that Keinslucht is his best work so far. I really like this album. And so I was looking forward to a new Trepaneringsritualen release, and since the album was meant to be released on Cold Spring, I had high hopes for it because I was expecting something really cool. Now, what he presented with this album though is something that I wouldn't expect. This album over here is his most straightforward and his most bold attempt of presenting ritual ambient in the most straightforward way possible. This album does not have the intensity, the aggression and the melodies of pretty much anything else he has done before. I don't know if he has another project that goes to this straightforward sort of ritual ambient, but this one, for what it is for his studio works, is quite exceptional. This album is only 2 tracks and each one goes for exactly 19 minutes long. So we're talking about a 38-minute album. And the tracks are basically a symbol, where in the first one you have the shape of a trident, and on the second one this trident is upside down. And that's it. This album is totally instrumental. The harsh vocals from Trepaneringsritualen, they're not present here, and it's the same thing with the industrial elements, the minimal drumming, all of those elements are gone. We're literally talking about an album that is straight up dark ambient / ritual ambient. Instead, I would say that the ritual sounds of this thing are presented in the more haunting way possible. This is truly a dark album. It creates a haunting vibe. It definitely sounds occult. It has this ritual experience to it. And I truly appreciate him going into this direction, going for something different compared to anything else in his discography. But other than that, there are not any more positive things to say about this thing. Because apart from the aesthetic and some nice sounds, this entire album is just 38 minutes of lifeless, pointless mess. This album feels almost unnecessary. It doesn't bring something that great, something all that refreshing. It's just sounds going for 19 minutes long that have a bit of a dark aesthetic to them, but other than that, it's mostly silent parts where you're just expecting the next sound to come, and it doesn't even feel like unpredictable, like having some sort of intensity to it, something that would sound intriguing or interesting at all. And the whole sound of ritual ambient has been presented on other artists done before, and even better in my opinion. The examples that come closest to mind are Sibalba and Furpa if you count out their throat singing. The whole ritual aesthetic, the chimes, the cymbals, they're sort of presented in this new Trepaneringsritualen album, but it's extremely forgettable, it's really boring, and the album just finishes and there is nothing special to it, there is nothing spectacular to it. In any way do I feel intrigued by this album. Its whole pacing, it's quite bad, the sounds get boring really fast, and it just feels like a sound collage of tribal sounds that get quickly repetitive and forgettable. Like I said, I truly appreciate him going into a different direction, but this ain't it. I'm not even saying that I feel majorly disappointed by this album, because it's not like he took a sound that he has presented before in some of his previous albums and that it just felt like he didn't execute his sounds all that well. Instead, what we have here is a completely different experience, but in my opinion, this album just feels more of just like an experiment. This doesn't feel like it has so much effort to it for its most part. It just feels lifeless, it's boring, it's average at best, and it's mostly painful generic tribal sounds that get dated really fast. Yeah, I was not expecting this. This is by far my least favorite album from Trepaneringsritualen. I'm hoping that if he's going to just experiment with those tribal ambient sounds, I'm just hoping for something better, a bit more consistent, that wouldn't sound like that much of a mess, and actually bring some sounds that would manage to catch more than just an aesthetic, because it's not enough. For now, I just highly suggest you to go and listen to albums like Perfection and Permanence and Keinslucht, because these are two quite great works from Trepaneringsritualen. This, on the other hand, even for standards of ritual ambient, is really weak. There are so many better albums that you can find in this genre. This one just feels like a waste of time. One of the most boring, forgettable and lifeless albums I've heard all year. This is quite disappointing. I'm going to give this album a 4 out of 10. What's your opinion on this album? Like it? Dislike it? Why? And what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.